So before we get started, I'd like to cover a few basic points. Fascial stretching is different than muscular stretching. And how is that so, you may ask? Well, fascia is not muscle, and muscle is not fascia. Its structure, its chemical makeup, and its function are all very different than muscles. Muscles are usually cross either one joint or two joints, and so they're engaged in local movement. Fascia is everywhere. It surrounds all your muscles, it surrounds your organs, it surrounds your bones, and it works in a 3D structure very much like this, very fractal. And because of that, movement can be generated in any direction at any time. And it's all connected. It's what connects one muscle to another muscle to another muscle so that we have coordinated movement throughout our body in every direction. Its main focus is not to move you, but to support your structures, to support the bones, to support the organs, to support the muscles. So no matter what you may be doing, everything is still in its place, connected yet separate. Fascia is also what holds your posture. We have over 600 muscles in our bodies, 204 bones in our bodies. We all have all the same organs in the same place in our bodies, yet we are all uniquely different because we have shaped our bodies, we have shaped our posture according to what our movement patterns are in the course of a day. You might find if you change your job, if you change the way you move your body, you totally change the posture of your body depending on those movement patterns. So how fascia is basically different than muscle is that muscle expands and contracts. You can stretch it, you can tighten it, but then it always goes back to neutral or its normal position. Fascia doesn't do that. Fascia is more plastic. So it only responds to consistent, persistent movement. For instance, sitting at a chair for 8 hours a day. Your body will shape, your fascia will shape to that position. So if I take this plastic bag and I slowly stretch it in a persistent, consistent way, when I release it, it holds that shape. And it will keep that shape permanently unless it has an equal force in a different direction. So in that way, fascia is very different than muscles. It requires a long, consistent stretching. Therefore, when we do our stretches, you'll be holding positions for a long period of time. Sometimes it'll be 3 minutes, sometimes longer. Some when we have the more difficult positions, we might not be able to hold them quite as long. But our body's reaction, or fascia's reaction, when you first get into a position that is considered stressful for your body, its initial function of fascia is to protect, and it does so by tightening. Not contracting, but tightening. And when it does that, it supports everything and it compresses everything internally. So it actually closes you in. It almost feels like your skin is too tight for your body. So it takes a while, depending on how often you stretch and how hydrated your body is, that it takes a while for your body to say, okay, this isn't a threat, I can relax and let go. And for some people, that's a minute. So therefore, we have to hold those positions for over a minute. I prefer about 2 to 3 minutes, but that also depends upon your own body and what you are capable of doing. But it's not a passive stretch. You're not just sitting there and holding that position in a comfortable manner and allowing gravity to do it for you. You have to actively engage and reach, just like, for instance, If I just hold the bag and do this without putting any pressure, it's not going to change. It's only when I stretch it from both ends, or anchor one end and stretch the other, that I put the actual stretch into it, does it actually reshape itself. So many of the positions we're going to be reaching and holding it and continuing to reach in an active, consistent, persistent manner throughout the whole 3 minutes, which is very difficult for many people who are used to stretching for a few seconds and then coming back into another position or moving into another position. So they're very simple stretches, but the application of them can be quite stressful. When your body is being challenged in certain places, it's good to remember that the body resists the most just before it releases. So you might find yourself fidgeting, wanting to get out of the position and just changing and moving things around. If you get out of the position and come back in, you're actually basically starting at almost zero again. So if you can hold that position, you can find yourself getting a little bit nervous, your breath will increase, your respiration increase, you find yourself maybe even getting warm and sweating a little bit. If you hold on and persevere for just a few seconds, you'll notice that your body will come to a place where suddenly you can take a deep breath, your respiration and your heart slows down, and you just drop into a different place. Okay?